Запись не ведется. Все.
Okay, so the topic of our discussion will be prefabricated constructions and the modular constructions. Sometimes these two definitions can be the same, but sometimes they are actually not the same because they are applied in the construction site in the various places. So if we'll talk about prefabricated constructions, so we need to state that prefabricated construction is in the practice of assembling a variety of components of a structure, of total structure. So at manufacturing site and transporting those sub-assemblies to the location, to the construction site, to the job site. Prefabricated construction is sometimes thought as a low and mass-produced mode of construction. In reality, however, it is quite opposite. Prefabricated construction became more common, improving its quality, and has became available in the variety of the budgets. So if we'll talk about the quality of the prefabricated construction, so firstly, what we can say that all quality is controlled on the, of the site. So what type of features it's give us? So many parameters which are influenced on the quality of the construction control it automatically. So because there are absence of automatically control on the construction site, first of all. And control are made in the beginning of creating the of the manufacturing of the construction. That's very important because if manufacturers see that there are not higher quality can be in the construction or there are some problems, they can quickly change some of the parameters or sometimes crash the ready construction and check it according to the normal and requiremental positions, and on the construction site it will be transported in the checked position. That's also very important. Of course, there are many benefits which will be discussed by us some later about them, and some of them it is construction outside. So I told you, and commonly it is eco-friendly. That's also very important thing. There are financial savings. So each of these benefits will be discussed by us separately, actually. According to the benefits, we can say that it's flexibility. According to architectural and design solutions. I told you about the quality, that it's a more higher. Also, it can reduce the site disruption, so it makes shorter construction time because most of construction processes are dry, not wet actually. But we can say that all processes are dry, but most of them and most main processes are dry. So safety. According to the safety, of course, I think it's an open question because it needs to be discussed. So we can say that only prefabricated construction is a most safety construction in the world. Of course, they show good results according to the higher quality of all parameters of the material and ready construction. But in the same time, for example, monolithic construction, it's also can be considered like the safe construction. So, what about, let's talk about features of the um, construction, so prefabricated construction. So first of all, I told you that it is eco-friendly. So modular construction or prefabricated construction is often commended for energy efficiency and the sustainable construction. So how it can be done? Because for manufacturing the prefabricated or modular construction can be used or reused old construction materials. It's concrete, uh, so monolithic concrete, which can be crushed and reused again. So, and then in the modern countries which are have a deal with eco-friendly materials, most of them are prefabricated. Traditional construction method require extra materials, so that lead to increase the number of the waste. So after the finishing of the construction. So, however, since the prefabricated sub-assemblies are constructed out of site, so in the special factories. So, and extra materials, special materials like fresh concrete and other mortars and so on, can be used in the less portions, and they can be recycled in house. This is considerable improvement. So over the sending the waste directly to the landfill from the traditional construction site. Um, Next feature is the financial saving. So financial saving is the it can be called like one of the greatest advantages of prefabricated construction. So because it's can be seen like it will be a really expensive construction, but in the same time it's not in this case, because saving by using this method of constructions is more um, than expenses. So modular construction targets all budgets and price points, um, creating an affordable option. So prefabricated manufacturers often receive the bulk discounts for materials supplies, which uh, then trickles down the cost of construction project. And modular construction also uh, sidesteps the possibility of reliable constructors and productive stuff. So what about comparing to the site cast concrete and the precast? So of course, these comparisons give us another um, advantages of the prefabricated construction, because we need the less time to construction. As we know, monolithic constructions require the time for the installating of uh, formwork, installating of reinforcement, um, the time for the concreting, so applying the fresh concrete, and time for waiting when the fresh concrete will be hardened, then time for putting out the formwork, and so on. So these processes are repeated every time before all monolithic works. For example, monolithic may be masonry works. No, actually, for masonry works, there are other construction processes, but also they are need more time in comparison with the prefabricated construction. And so, when we are going to construction by using the modular, for example, methods. Of course, there are no additional works like installing of reinforcement, formwork, concreting, and so on. That's all what we need. It is mounting crane, assembling crane. It is several staff or brigade, um, which have a deal with the mounting of prefabricated or modular constructions. And of course, the number of that staff more or less than in comparison with the traditional staff in the construction site, which have a deal with the concrete works. Less affected by weather conditions. uh, I told you that all parameters um, can be during the manufacturing, all parameters which gives the hardness, which gives the durability, um, sustainability for the energy efficiency for the fabricated constructions are controlled off-site. And on the construction side, we know that monolithic constructions, for example, are attacked by the weather conditions every time, because the construction can be um, go through the time. It can be like a winter, so it will be -6 degrees, and also the summer with hot temperatures, which also gives negative effect to the concrete construction, for instance, like for steel construction too. So we know that if there are higher -degree, so it's not there are no permission to make the welding, for example, of steel construction. So we need to use the special steels. We need to create the special conditions for construction site and so on. So that's important to understand. If the construction site are going in the territory with the bad conditions, first of all, what we need to think about, it is the method of construction. So maybe there will be present of some concrete base. So there are located nearby factory of reinforcement, for example. And so it can be seems that the easy to use the monolithic method of construction. But if there are weather conditions which are not um, actually good for the construction, for monolithic construction, maybe our decision about um, the construction methods need to be changed. Next, plan casting allows increased efficiency, high quality, and control all finishes. So actually, we discussed about it. Site and the precast as plan. So a little comparison between two place of manufacturing the ready constructions for the buildings. So what we see in the site cast, no transportation, the size limitations depending on the elevation capacity only. So it means that there are no requirements to think about transportation. So how we will be transported the ready constructions. And for precast constructions, it is very important to think how the constructions, prefabricated or modular constructions, will be transported from the plant where there was manufactured to the construction to the site where there will be assembled. And sometimes there are limitation of the traffic jam. There are limitation of the roads. So the size of the roads is not enough. For example, we are going to construct some buildings in the central part of the building. And so what we have nearby located big buildings. We have the really bad conditions with the traffic jams, and it will be very difficult to, for example, put the 24 or 33 meters ready truss, for example. Yes, truss or maybe uh, beam or maybe some slabs and other constructional ready constructions. So we need to think about it, how it will be transported. So there should be prepared the special documentations which will give us opportunity to put the ready construction to the construction site. Okay, so the size of constructions can be various when we use monolithic or site construction. And on the precast constructions, the size is limited by the various requirements. It is transportation requirements, it is quality requirements, it is many other requirements. So how it will be assembled and so on, according to the mounting opportunities, mounting crane opportunities, and so on. Next, low quality. So we told about it, directly affected by weather. So no space requirement on the site for fabrication, unlimited opportunities of architectural appearance. Interesting point, unlimited opportunities of architectural appearance. So because out of construction site, there can be created various shapes, various architectural solutions, and so on. For example, can be we can told about this not bearing material like fiber concrete. So fiber concrete, it is material which are used for decoration purposes. So when we need to decorate external part of the building to create the shape of the building or maybe some style of the building. So fiber concrete is one of the best solution, and it cannot be created or constructed on the construction site. There are only one solution. It is to use the precast at the plant. Large free space required. Large free space required. So what about space requirement? On the construction side, we need to store the materials like formwork, like reinforcement. So we need this special places for the big brigades where they will be work and how they will work. So all these questions require a big spaces on the construction site. That's not sometimes required when we use precast or modular construction. Okay, let's give a quick look to the picture of one of the examples of prefabricated construction. So the good example in our city, and not only in our city but in all Kazakhstan, is paneling housing. So in the paneling housing, the most of all constructions and sometimes all of the construction are prefabricated. They are precast walls, the without openings, the precast walls with openings for facade, openings for windows and doors, precast slabs, which cover the horizontal place and divide building to the levels. It is precast stairs, which give us opportunity to move in the building from one level to other level. Um, what else? Partly walls, so what? Partly walls, vertical constructions, shelters, special bars, and so on. These all constructions which are used um, to mounting the or erecting the construction in ready position on the construction site. So design concept of the precast buildings based on the buildability, economy, standardization of the precast components. So standardization, it is using the standard ready positions uh, from the special documents when we are create the project of precast construction. Why it is important to use to apply the standardization in our project? Because it will mm, use the less time to design the building. It will use less time to manufacturing construction because they are standard and require no other tools, no other machineries to manufacture it, and so on. That's why architects, of course, it's not open our question, but in the same time, we need to understand. The most often used for structural elements, it is precast slabs. Um, the precast slabs divide actually on some elements, though there are solid flat slab, the hollow core slab. So the hollow core slab, one of the popular type for buildings of various requirements like residential buildings and social buildings. So when we need to um, decrease their own weight of construction, so this is a very good variant, and also to increase the energy efficiency solutions. So double T and a single T. Most of all, these two positions are used in industrial buildings when there are no aesthetical requirements to the ceiling. Precast beams and the girders. So they can be also various shapes: rectangular, L shape, I beam shape, and the T beam shape. So you see that there are in the top part of these beams can be seen reinforcement. So this reinforcement are need to connect some of the construction between each other. So, and this connection is important because there will be monolithic parts of the construction. So these monolithic parts are connected to the prefabricated construction between each other and create some more durable and some more sustainable constructions. Some pictures from the construction site of precast columns, precast walls, so how they are stored on the construction site. So, for example, walls should be stored not in the vertical or in horizontal position. The right position for its storing will be some inclined position. So during installation, you see that the columns are installed firstly. After them, installed the horizontal beams, and the last uh, installed the horizontal slabs and the vertical walls. So which are directly, for example, slabs are directly supported by the beams, and the beams itself transmits the load to the column, and the actual column directly transmitted to the foundation. So foundation is can be used like prefabricated. So in the prefabricated constructions, they can be like prefabricated, and so the monolithic. It is according to the soil conditions, according to the absence or presence of substructure of the building, to the water location beneath the foundation level, and so on, according to the hardness of the soil. So there are many actual requirements to foundations. So according to the type of foundation, according to the material for foundation, and the way of its constructing. I think you discussed about it on the technology one, about substructure on the building and so on, because all that questions are located there. Precast stairs. Directly precast stairs are used not only in the prefabricated and modular construction. Precast stairs can be used also in the monolithic buildings, because to create the monolithic slabs, sometimes it requires more labor cost and time to construction, and it's more easier to use the precast stairs, and it's easy to install it, and it requires short time, and there are many opportunities and um, free design of the stairs when we use precast in precast position and so on. And here you see some of the variants. So precast concrete stairs, and also concrete stairs can be supported by the steel beams, uh, and also there can be steep steel plates, um, which are supported by the steel beams. So it is according to inside design, according to architectural and design solutions in the building. So most of all, because stairs sometimes it is a part of design of the building. Design consideration. So what should be considered when we're talking about prefabricated construction? So the final position and the loads. So loads which will be acting to the construction. So prefabricated construction. So its final position, how it will be located, where it will be located. So for what purpose, bearing purposes or just enclosing purposes. So this question should be in design consideration. So should be soft and design consideration, transportation requirements, so self-load and position during transportation. So transportation is one of the important thing, because the most dangerous problem for the ready construction can be happen during its transportation, because uh, on the plants where the ready so structure are tested, is checked, they control it, but when it go away from the plants, so the responsibility for the quality of the construction can be on the contractor. So that's why the transportation, it's a very important thing, and it used to be transported very gentle, because there can be find micro cracks, for example, in concrete construction, if there will be hot way to for transportation, and the quality can be lowered by the not right using way of transportation, or by not right using position of the construction during transportation. So position, it's also one of the important or very important questions. So we have less than 1 minute, and of course I want to ask you about questions. Do you have questions about our lecture, about what I told you? Because we will not finish this presentation today, we'll continue on next lecture. So, okay.
So we haven't got questions.